Our starting point this evening, North Korea says it has conducted another crucial test at its long-range rocket site. The state-run Korea Central News Agency said the test took place on Friday evening at the Seohae satellite launching ground in Dongchangli. The regime didn't specify what was tested, but hailed it was a further advancement of its nuclear deterrent. It comes about a week after Pyongyang claimed to have conducted another important test, prompting concerns of fresh provocations by the North. The announcement also comes a day ahead of U.S. Special Representative to North Korea Stephen Biegun's visit to South Korea. Reports that suggested Biegun could meet North Korean officials at the inter-Korean border village of Panmunjom during his trip to try to defuse escalating tensions between the two sides.
Tombstones marked by hate, but also cultural centres, town halls, schools. In all, 42 anti-Semitic attacks in the Bas-Rhin region of Alsace in just 18 months. This cemetery in the village of Westhofen is just the latest to be desecrated. 107 of its tombs were found marked with swastikas earlier this month. And although the cleanup operation is now underway for a region as troubled as this one by anti-Semitic attacks, the stain will be harder to remove. Not least the French government. France's interior minister visited Westhofen, announcing the creation of a national task force. When the graveyard at Katzenheim was attacked, it was the French president who came. Another case that remains unsolved.
Northeast is protesting because for many years, Northeast has seen a lot of migrants come from the neighboring countries. They fear that once the Citizen Amendment Bill comes, all the illegal Hindu migrants who came from the state of Bangladesh will get a residentship of the state of Assam, changing really the topography of the country, changing really the social structure of the state of Assam. In all of the country, the reason is completely different. India believes that this particular Citizen Amendment Bill is against the social structure of India in general. India is a secular country. The Constitution clearly mentions that it does not discriminate on the basis of caste or religion. And the Citizen Amendment Bill makes it clear that India would be taking refugees from the 3 neighboring countries, but not Muslims.
It's obviously very welcome to finally see Bashir behind bars, but it shouldn't be confused that this means justice for the victims of Bashir's crimes. He's only actually been held accountable for his money laundering and corruption charges, but he still remains at large on the ICC, International Criminal Court arrest warrant for war crimes, crimes against humanity and genocide. So it's not a full victory, and 2 years is a tiny price to pay really for the killing of, at a very conservative estimate, about 300,000 people in Darfur. So, we shouldn't conflate the fact that this is not justice for the victims of that most horrendous crime.
Well, rumors have been circulating for the past few days that some kind of deal was in the works to just resolve the trade disputes between the USA and China. The idea being that the tariffs would be scaled back in exchange for tens of billions of dollars of agricultural products and other things being purchased from the United States and some concessions on China's part. Now, in response to these rumors, we heard the Democrats speaking up. This was Chuck Schumer.
Reports say President Trump sold out for a temporary, unreliable promise from China to purchase some soybeans. We've heard this song and dance from China before, yet again President Trump can't be relied on to do the right thing, even when his statements were pointing in the right direction.
Now, we then heard from Donald Trump speaking up about how this was simply fake news.
These 3 unassuming men are the brains behind the latest political movement in Italy. Born out of a late-night text message and nicknamed the Sardines, the protests have gained traction in northern Italy as people take a stand against far-right figure Matteo Salvini and the rise of populism.
We are against intolerance, right-wing populism, and nationalism. We are not against a political party or government or opposition. We are against a political message, a political ideology, and above all, we are against a certain way of doing politics.
The movements took root in the historically left-wing region of Emilia-Romagna. Home of Europe's oldest university, Bologna was the stage for the first protest. Hoping to outdo a local rally being held by the former Deputy Prime Minister Salvini, the founders aimed to gather 6,000 people. But over 15,000 turned up.
Well, after months of protests and trekking around the world, 16-year-old climate change activist Greta Thunberg says she needs a break.
You need to take breaks, otherwise you cannot, you cannot do this all the time, you have to rest as well. I don't know how long I will rest, but not for too long.
Well, she was named Times Person of the Year this week for her work raising awareness about the climate crisis.
Good evening. Police are tonight speaking with a group of juveniles after a boy was violently stabbed to death on the Gold Coast. The brutal brawl playing out in front of tourists, strangers running to the teenager's aid, but he couldn't be saved.
It's a confronting scene. A young man, just 17, fighting for life on the footpath. That boy is Gold Coast teen Jack Beasley. Metres away, his mate, also 17, is lying in a pool of blood. Both have just been stabbed in tourist hotspot Surfers Paradise. Their attackers are long gone, last seen running towards the beach.